Hi everyone, so in my last ADHD video I was talking about dysthymic disorder and ADHD, more specifically how symptoms of both may overlap and why it may occur in a person with ADHD, why they may have both. So if you want to know more about that, then you gotta check out that video. But this one is going to be talking about bipolar disorder and ADHD and why they may occur together. Now I'm going to admit straight away, I don't know a ton about bipolar disorder, okay? Now, I know the basics, and I've done some research prior to this video, because I'm not just gonna go in half-cocked, you know? But if anyone who's watching this does have bipolar disorder and ADHD, or just bipolar disorder, and you feel comfortable with putting in some experiences or thoughts in the comment section, please do. And if I say anything that turns out to be incorrect or sounds incorrect in any way, say so, and I will amend it in a future video, because these are supposed to be helpful, you know? I don't want to give any misconceptions or incorrect information, that kind of thing. So anyway, before we get into it though, I gotta say, as usual, if you like the content and you want to see more, then please follow, leave a like, comment, questions in the comments, thoughts, requests, queries, just because I like that word, subscribe to the YouTube channel and repost the video for furthering awareness and, you know, just also for my benefit, if I'm honest, because I'm trying to raise awareness and I'd appreciate it, essentially. Anyway, so I gotta get into it. Okay, now, for those of you who don't know what bipolar disorder, basically it's a condition where someone might experience extreme highs and lows, you know, extreme mood swings that can last for a prolonged amount of time, like for weeks on end. Okay, there are treatments for bipolar disorder, things like medication or talking therapies, which both those seem to be very common. I was about to say cure, that's not the correct word, not cure, but a very common treatment or form of support for helping manage certain psychiatric conditions. But in terms of people with ADHD, there is a percentage of people with ADHD who may also have bipolar disorder. One aspect of that, it's not very well known why they may occur together, like what really leads to that. If I'm honest, in terms of research, there's not a lot done on it, so that's something that needs more research on it in general. But one factor seems to be genetic, because as I've said before, ADHD is there from birth. But it turns out bipolar disorder and ADHD overlap in certain areas where they can be very similar in terms of genetics. Now, I mentioned in a previous ADHD episode that one aspect of having ADHD is emotional dysregulation. So you have issues dealing with your emotions or regulating them when in extreme situations. So you might overreact, you know, or have extreme reactions to things that otherwise someone who's neurotypical might not react to as severely as you had. Certain things may make you especially emotional very quickly, like you're easily sensitive and so on, things like that, or easily angered, that's another thing. So now, because of that, and like I said, bipolar disorder deals with large mood swings, you can see how perhaps genetically they'd be similar. And if someone is in the family is bipolar or ADHD, then it's likely that it'll get passed down genetically to their children, or at least to their grandchildren, and so on and so forth. Now, there are other areas of bipolar disorder that overlap with ADHD, things like impulsivity, which occur in both, and inattention, which also occur in both. Now, it's not hard to understand how they can occur together in one person. Sometimes environmental factors come into play, and I don't mean environmental factors like in terms of developing ADHD, because again, that's there from birth, and largely things like bipolar disorder may also. But I've done a little bit of research, and again, this is one of those things where I'm just asking if you have bipolar disorder, or if you know a lot about it, then please say so in the comments if this is incorrect. But I have also read somewhere that there's an idea that some environmental factors, you know, like say childhood traumas, that can contribute to developing bipolar disorder. And if you have someone with ADHD who's particularly sensitive, perhaps there's a higher risk of that. Now, that is partially my theory and partially what I've read, okay? So if anyone knows more about that area, please say so, because I'm genuinely really interested, you know, because the more I do these videos, the more I learn, not just about myself, but about other aspects that may affect other people. Because like I've said, both autism and ADHD are very varied in how they affect individuals, especially autism, with it being such a large spectrum of difficulties and challenges, but as well as positives. And again, if you have ADHD or bipolar and you find it difficult to regulate your emotions and you know it's something you need support with, as I've said, there's talking therapies, you know, there's groups you can go to. Sometimes it's just helpful really to find someone else who understands where you're coming from, to kind of bounce off of each other with your issues and like support each other mentally, which is great. And yeah, and like I said, therapies as well for ADHD and medication, and there are methods, there are always methods of help. So, I also have read that in certain aspects, when it comes to mania, there is a sort of genetic similarity, I believe, with ADHD. Now, I have to stress, ADHD affects the brain. That's where it lies. It's a neurodivergent issue, okay? So, being neurodivergent meaning, you know, basically you have a different brain to someone who's neurotypical. So, it all comes down to the brain functions, as basically everything in the body does. And mania, any form of mania, of course, comes down to the brain as well, because it's usually a sort of instability in your mental state. So now that's the biggest issue for people with ADHD and autism, is like how it affects your brain. Because like I said, there are positives and there are challenges, but very easily those challenges can be turned into something more than just a challenge, like a genuine negative effect on you from day-to-day life. Like that's why I'm talking about these different disorders and psychiatric conditions that can be associated with ADHD at the moment. Like last video I spoke about dysthymic disorder, and in the one before that I spoke about major depression, I believe, which is very common in people with ADHD and autism. But anyway, because like I said, I don't know a ton about bipolar disorder, that's all I got to say. And again, I'll make mention, if you have bipolar disorder and you've seen this and you're comfortable with saying so in the comments, please put your thoughts in there about what I've said, any information that you can share, if you're comfortable with that. Otherwise, if you've liked this video, then please leave a like, yeah. Follow me here on TikTok, leave a comment, questions in the comments, and requests for future videos, things you want me to talk about. Perhaps if you have a psychiatric disorder and ADHD and maybe you don't know how they might overlap, then I'll look into it, you can look into it, we can both look into it, and I'll make a video. And yeah, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel, repost video to raise awareness, and I think that's all I've got for today. So until tomorrow, I hope you enjoy today, and my next video will of course be an autism-based one, about another autistic trait. I'm not saying which, because you'll have to find out for yourself. Anyway, till then, see ya.